Well, hello, you guys. Welcome to Life Discussions with Dr. Jefferson. And I should say Life Discussions with Dr. Jefferson and friends, because typically I have a plethora of people that I invite to come and be featured on the show, to share their thoughts and opinions on the show, to do the things that they do and talk about the things that they are, and share with you how it is that you can follow them if you like the information and the content that they share while they're here on the show. So, I clearly am your humble host. And on this platform, we delve into the popular and unpopular controversial topics that are suggested to us by our following on this and other platforms where you may have caught the content being released. Because I do have an audio podcast, traditional podcast, should I say, out there, and it can be found anywhere you listen to podcasts. It is labeled Life Discussions with Dr. Jefferson. We do have a separate one called Love and Intimacy, but that's a whole different play on things. So we are officially back on this channel. We discuss a wide range of topics that are intended to bring about accountability that could lead to shifts in the paradigm of our subculture in America as Black and Brown people. But as you know, on this channel, we do believe that people are only people, but the content is paramount to the conditioning of the internalized perceptions of those narratives that lead how Native and otherwise indoctrinated people function in American culture. So the content can definitely be used for anybody, regardless of their skin color. We tend to not be colorist, racist, or or any of the ists over here. But we do have some pretty interesting discussions about such. Okay. So I would like to take this moment to kind of, I guess, give a little bit of insight as to what we're going to talk about tonight. I did change the channel, the featured time that we are featured here. And let's see. Let's look at what I've modified. Of course, tonight's show aired at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and typically our showtime is at 11 p.m. on Mondays Eastern Standard Time. So that's a shift. In the event that we are having an XXX triple X double triple X rated show, those shows will still be aired if it's a live show at 11 p.m. Give you time to get those babies in the bed. Okay. So without further ado, um, let's take a look at what we are discussing today. I will not be having Susanna on tonight because she is enjoying a bit of vacation time. So there is that. However, Kel will be featured and he will be sharing his opinions, thoughts, reflection, and hopefully once you guys check this, because I do intend to have this content covered in an hour and a half to 2 hours. Um, or at least that's what I tell myself. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to reassess after we cover some of these areas that might address some of those issues. My thought process around that piece in general. So let me put up this first um, discussion topic. So the first one is modern day dating mindset versus the traditional mindset evolved. And the reason I use traditional mindset evolved because if we go back to the foundation of marriage and matters and how it is that people saw the benefit of marriage, the traditional woman is one who was married by way of arranged marriage. And we traditional, but we ain't that traditional. So there's that part. So the evolutionized traditional mindset construct would be where a woman believes heavily in the idea of taking care of her man, catering to him, washing his feet after he's gotten done from a hard, long day of working. Who am I kidding? That's not modern day men. But that's traditional women's mindset. Want to make sure that their meal is prepped, cooked, ready on the table, nice and warm by the time he gets home. She's estimated the time that it's going to take for him to commute to the home via horse and carriage or by feet and stand. Y'all got to excuse me, okay? I may have had one glass of wine. I may. But no. Um, so to me, that's an evolved manner of a traditional, very traditional woman still showing up for and investing fully in the idea or the concept of marriage. However, even though you guys have this, like, many of young people have this idea or mindset that um modern women are high earners and they don't need a man and all that good stuff. You need a somebody. We were not put here to navigate this life and the journey called life and the journey of learning as we're living this thing called life alone. We just were not. And I don't really delve heavily into religion typically on this channel, but some of my perceptions around the topics that we're going to talk about today, and I'm just going to flash them so you have an idea of where we're going with the conversation, okay? But some of my perceptions are going to be rooted in the constructs of religion, or at least spiritual conditioning as an idea or a foundation for how it is that we define some of these parameters around the paradigm that we call life, right? So, this mindset, right, beckons the question, what does this have to do with financial security of adults in modern day America? And financial security or stability, because, I like to speak to both, are two separate but very connected components that guide our concepts or internal working systems around the value, right, of money and how money plays into the overall view that we have of what goals in life look like. Okay. So I'm going to defer to Kelso so that he can share his insights first. And hopefully we have some shared ideals. But hey, we may not. Let's see. So, Kelso, what do you think the mindset of modern day feminism and modern day masculine ideals? What do you think those dating mindsets, when you look at it versus the traditional dating or courting mindsets, what do you think that has to do with the financial security or lack thereof of adults in modern day society, America? And you may have to come over here. Let me see if I can. Okay. So you may just have to speak up.
I will. For me, at the age I'm at, traditional dating was way before the technology age, so where you had to do person to person and meet people uh, really natural type ways versus AI ways and stuff like that. So it made it more close and personal, more meaningful because there was not a lot of other stuff going on to distract you from what you're trying to do with that person. Versus modern day people, they got tons of people in their inbox. They got A inbox, Z inbox, all this going on as well. And then working all the stuff they got going on as well. It make dating more of a routine thing than trying to find somebody to be with you. And, it's really something to do.
Okay. So when you say it's really just something to do, what do you mean?
The past time I get a free dinner just to go out with somebody, say you did a thing. People don't really date the purpose no more. They date the purpose of dating a lot of people. That's the purpose.
You said they date a lot of different people.
That's the purpose today.
Okay. So that's called multi-dating. However, it is kind of popular, I will say. A lot of young people do like to multi-date because they figure they will have an easier time trying to vet a partner.
I don't think they're looking for a partner. It just happens they find one, but most of the time, that's a lifestyle for them.
So you mean like recreational dating,
Right.
Just going
That's
out?
a lifestyle for them.
That's what you're doing for sport.
There's no end game to trying to find that person for that life, beyond that life. It's just, you feel like doing it, you don't. It's like an option anyway.
Okay.
You know.
So I think the mindsets of traditional men, I think first for me, I have to delve into the full mindset construct. Okay. Like I started off, I feel like traditional evolved people are of the mindset that the purpose of dating is to fill out the person that has been vetted for you by your family, by your friends, by colleagues, whoever set you up. Because see, like I think that's really important. It's really important sometimes for an outside observer of you and an outside observer, mutual outside observer of yourself and your potential partner to have a moment to observe what they see evolving in either of you. And then be able to say to you, hey girl, hey, I saw so and so, and I feel like you guys would be a really good match because based on blah, 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 you guys have some shared or common interest, right? That I feel will really bring you guys together. Plus, they're not blah, 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 knowing some of the things that you feel are triggers for you to be your worst version of self, right? So, in my opinion, the person who is a traditional evolved mindset, women have the mindset or of the mindset of I value marriage because I value a man giving me, his full attention, um, handing me his full support, showing up for me in ways that I do not typically see him showing up for other people, other women, fully investing in me, fully committing himself to me. And the way he does that is to bring me his check, his whole check. I want his whole check. I want all his money. I want all his royalties. I want all of his wealth. I want everything that he earns to be something he brings to me for its full edification. Like I want it to be multiplied, right? In an abundance by my insight, my essence, my love, my appreciation, my all of that, right? Because I feel like he's working for the continuation of our legacy that we're going to build together because I see myself as an extension of him and then the children that I bear from my body as an extension of us and the stability of our relationship, right? So I do feel like that picture has a little bit of finance tied to it. Because I do want your money.
Yeah.
Okay. I do want your money. I want your stability. I want all of that, right? But it's a given that I'm going to want all of that because I know that I am the embodiment of perfection when it looks like you are out there looking for a woman to be your wife. I know that when you see me, you're going to say, oh, good God, that lady got a rack on her. And she's brilliant. I hear she's brilliant. People have told me she's brilliant. Ooh, we're going to do great things together. I can't wait to give her my whole check. But no, seriously. That's the mindset. But also I think that men of that age were of the mindset that if they are going out there and they're seen as, you know, womanizers, there is some level of accountability to be had in the society that men are watched in. So there are elders of the community that will shame you because you're out there with this girl today, that girl later on the next day, and another girl after that. It's just so much going on in your life that you really can't build anything because you can't sit still for long enough to get that done, right? But you have grown people telling you that, right? So that is my mindset around how I see the traditional evolved mindset of people that are interested in dating, because they see it as segueing into marriage and an extension of their legacy lines by way of having children, building together financially, stabilizing their system to continue to have continued growth, right? Evolving as a couple. Now, modern day dating, I do agree with you. I feel like a lot of people in modern day society, they date for recreation or sport. Excuse me, they're not dating with intention in general, but then they're also, but it's not, well, yeah, I guess you're right. Their intentions are different. Yeah. So they're dating with the intention of going out, having a good time, having fun on somebody else's dime for women. Yeah, no. I think for women, it's I'm going out, having fun on somebody else's dime. I'm exploring life and I'm living my life and learning about new things through somebody else's pockets. And then on the flip side of the coin, I think the men are dating for access to continuous and regular sex for a variety of reasons, because they still see they have to like put.
Because now today we have more women willing to do those things than the traditional women back in our day. There's more abundance to have that sort of type of relationship with, so they got the chance of them getting that type of relationship or spot on. Because they deal with legal things on that.
You might have to come over here so they can hear you.
Okay.
So, okay, here are my thoughts, right? I think it's directly linked because I think that the financial security of a person has to be built around ideals, right? And if our ideals are misdirected because we are too consumed by social comparisons, I think it puts us in a bind. I think those men who would otherwise be pretty stable or consistent providers are now taken out of that place of being able to provide and placed in a place to where they can't do that for themselves or the next person. Okay? So, let me go here. What makes an adult an adult? Hold on, let me edit this so you guys can properly read it. Okay. All right, so that's proper. I have a super pet peeve when it comes to the proper, you know, or proper organization of spelling and grammar. So, what makes an adult an adult? We're going to challenge the ideas of poor parenting rendered at the hands of fed up boomers as parents. And I want you guys to share what your thoughts are, right? So I'll take the first one this time, and then I'll let Kale answer after me, since we did it in the reverse just a moment ago. But so I feel like an adult is a person who is interdependently functional in a successful way or partially successful way by the age of 21. Now, before you guys come on here saying an adult is an adult because they got to go to court as an adult and be tried as an adult by 18, baby. I don't think that's always realistic, because here's the thing. You have to give people some time to get settled, right? You have to give people some time to go to college and get their college experience if they're going to go to college. Because some people, college is for some people, and I'm going to admit it's not for other people. Okay, a lot of other people, right? Let's be honest about that. So there is still time for a person to get a trade, to find themselves some level of financial stability and things like that, right? During that time between ages 18 and 21, they're still finding themselves. And sometimes they're still on their parents' insurance. They're probably still on their parents' insurance, let's be honest, until 25, 26. As long as the insurance is going to let them stay on. But an adult is a person who works in, that's why I use the word interdependent, because we're never really fully independent. I think there is a mindset that is quite delusional when people say, "Oh, I'm independent." Because you are never independent. You need somebody else to fix your car, you're not independent. You need somebody else to run you here or run you there, you're not independent. You need somebody else to cook for you, you're not independent. You need somebody to clean for you, you're not independent. You need somebody to ring your groceries up at the grocery store. Now, I'm not gonna lie, these grocery stores are trying. They are trying it, pushing it, and then want to charge the customer more so they can check themselves out. Like, what, I'm paying you to not work? Who, child? Hello, America. But here we are. An adult is a person who understands some of the basic complexities that prepares them for going through navigating the more difficult challenges over the course of their lifespan as they're learning as adults, right? Because there are young adults, that's when you enter adulthood, and then you're a progressive adult until you are a mature adult, right? So, that in my mind, that's what makes you an adult. And I hear a lot of people who were raised by boomers that were born in the 40s and up, okay? I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, well, my parents did this, or they cussed me out, or they beat me up, or they beat my ass." Like, they talk about it like it's a detriment, right? But the reality is, they don't look at some of the benefits that came from the type of and the magnitude of aggression that that was that generation's disciplinary tactics. Okay, so if we're looking at right, it's supposed to be an attitude adjustment.
It was fairly successful.
I think it, because in my opinion it was definitely successful, and I think that sometimes we don't give credence to that. I think that we're afraid to call a thing because at the end of the day, if we were right, and it's not to say that we okay corporal punishment to the extent of abuse. It's just saying that we understand that it worked. Because when we look at some of the upticks in crime and lack of accountability for parents and all of these things that have like are the fallout of the disorganization and lack of structure that was introduced in the aftermath of having child abuse laws kind of being implemented and that kind of stuff. What I will say is we've lost touch with what it looks like to be a society that is now accountable. And to be honest with you, we get really upset with people when they speak their truth. And we know that their truth that they're speaking aligns with who we really are, but we ain't really ready for other people to know or see that. And I feel like that's when we start coming hard for people and we're really aggressive and we're really defensive. We're very hostile because somebody out there putting us on Front Street. So the reality is, it doesn't matter who holds a truth that is or isn't yours. For me, you can speak your mind. I believe in freedom of speech. Whatever truth lies in your speech. Yeah, I got this thing in my head now. Y'all are not my friends. Oof, cotton ball. But whatever truth lies within that narrative, right, that you hold that I'm not comfortable with or I wasn't quite ready to have divulged, let's talk about it. They have this saying, they used to have this saying, they stoned Jesus. You think you're better than Jesus, right? If they would crucify the person that has been easily identified as God walking amongst man, who the hell do you think you are? Regular human, walking this earth, trying to make sense of the life that God has given to us, the path that He puts us on, places us on without direction directly. Like those things. That's how I feel about that, right? So becoming an adult that is independent of your parents is a different thing. But I think until then, you're very interdependent all the way until you die, because we're all going to be dependent on somebody else to do something, because we're all systemically connected. I think until we see that, access it, own it, and move with that in mind, we're going to continue to stumble around how it is that we can reconstruct this chaos that we are contributing to currently. So, in your mindset, Kale, what are your thoughts?
Well,
My microphone don't reach all the way over there.
oh,
I keep reminding you of that, but you're still over there. There is that.
well,
Sorry, y'all.
I think about that one. For real.
Do you think it's the parents' fault? Like the chaos that presents in the misdirection and the lack of subcultural conditioning, do you think it is the fault of the boomer
Um,
parent?
I think it's after the boomer, because I'm a boomer. It's the one after us that got the problem with the kids today, because that way, the what you talking about stop that with our generation. After us, that the law stopped that. So the law
Yes, the
stopped it.
law did stop it, but boomer parents are considered to be those parents that were born right after the 1930s, so right after Great Depression, so 1940s to about 1964. So those parents that were born during those times and then rendered, advisement or oversight of children thereafter, the next 20 years, those are considered to be the boomer parents that are blamed for the chaos and the destruction that we see trickle down
I don't
in the
think so.
80s.
I think it came after that generation. Because before then we had a little more structure, a little more morality, a little more spirituality, a little more sound leadership in place for our community and our nation. So
Yeah, but also boomer parents are of the mindset in general. Sorry, you guys.
they shouldn't back then. There wasn't no one person the whole neighborhood was that for you.
But see, that's what I'm saying. There is the issue, right? The complaint is made that the neighborhood whooping your ass.
You don't know where he at and all that.
Yeah, but all of that, the neighborhood watch program, the next door neighbor that's nosy snitching, Then you got to go get a whooping by your granddaddy and your daddy and your mama. I mean, everybody, right? That parenting tactic is what people use to say that's the reason I don't want my kids, because you guys overdid it with us.
Let somebody who got whooped like that, they couldn't take it and change laws to create laws that people think they can do what they want to do and say they want
right.
to go out here and divorce their parents and do that stuff here. What the hell you mean divorce your parents? You
right.
just ask them to belt, that's what you're going to do. You know,
right.
What you gonna do.
But see, that's what I'm telling you. That is what people now blame for these other parents that come now after that.
I don't even blame them. The system put in place to take the power from the parents where they're powerless to well. They just let the system do it for them because there's nothing they can do legally to satisfy that particular situation because the system it got laws in place to well they just govern like that. We don't have laws in our country.
Yeah, so we didn't have those laws, but we are the parents that gave birth to people that are in Millennial Gen X that had kids that because they got their ass beat so bad, they decided not to beat their kids, not to whoop their kids, not to parent their kids, because they thought that the constructs of child abuse laws means they cannot discipline their kids. So just because you choose not to beat your child, just because you choose not to whoop your child, doesn't mean that you are released from your authority as a parent. It just means that you need to find more creative ways to structure discipline in a way that contributes to the sound being of that child.
I agree with that. But some of them don't get it, so they gotta get it.
Yeah, but then you create a little hoodlum that runs up in people's houses, taking everything they got, hitting licks.
Depending on what kind of fee you put in. What kind of
morality? They don't really. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. For me, that's why I feel like religion, right? Because in that same era, religion came out of school. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So religion came out of school. So there is no sense of morality that's taught to the child that is lost, because technically those parents are running the drugs because they are so far left as to how to cope with their pain from their trauma as a child that they're out of the experience of being a parent to their child. To me, I think that was the ripple effect. That's what I see as the identified ripple effect that has now caused all of this. I have people. I was on a channel. I think it was a Russia's channel. Maybe last week after that.
They're doing too much with Joe. You shouldn't be part of the smoking, drinking, going to classes with your children. You shouldn't be doing that thing. But they do it like it's normal. You can't tell the daddy from the son and mama from the daughter.
I agree.
So there's no separation in places. How you gonna get some people out of those places? You know what I'm saying? Or they don't see nothing work that nothing to get out of that space for because you just find a teacher like me, just a regular person or a better person. You're not putting the best foot forward to make them see better way out of that. You show them how to be lazy, discontent, and all that. That was
So if discipline and parenting had been a part of the process, do you think that people could have more sound financial understanding of how to be successful and interdependent in life?
That's what sets you up to define your disciplinary action of thinking, the way you attitude wise, and the way you approach toward everything else. You approach everything chaotic and with no sense of urgency or no sense of that mean nothing with your own ideation. You just gonna bumble that because you don't care. They don't care about that no more. They don't care about nothing but what's in front of them.
Yeah, but in my opinion, that's actually what leads to people moving to a lack of, I guess, stable ground, and then feeling suicidal and helpless and hopeless. Because I feel like without understanding the way the economy works, the way that life works, the magnitude of responsibility that's on a person as an adult, what's being expected, if there is no preparedness, because I think that's the missing component. Many parents don't prepare their kids before pushing them out. They say, oh, well, You're grown, so
Have at it.
right.
They like for your teacher.
Yeah, get up out of here. They're 100% ready to throw you out.
They don't babysit all the while they done with that.
Exactly, because that's what they see themselves as, babysitters instead of parents. Parents are not babysitters.
You know, so
Yeah, seeing children as a liability is a liability to society, in my opinion, when those children are your children. So, a social comparison, right? I think that these kids in this generation are now so influenced by the hype on social media. Everybody's going out getting a BBL. Everybody's getting a liposuction, a tummy tuck, a fat reversal, a fat removal. They're doing all of these different surgeries in order to improve the way that they show up. Plastic surgery, nose jobs, talking about it, ear jobs, lips jobs.
that's another way modernized dating has changed the game too, because of what you just said. Everybody can catfish each other and all that stuff.
Is it catfishing in though?
Yeah, all that catfish. So if you get with them on long term, that gonna show up. You ain't gonna stay like that. You gotta start paying for stuff you never seen coming. My style, my face like this, like that. You gotta get that fixed. You know, that wasn't my contract. I didn't see that.
Ooh, child. Okay.
All my breath done bust. And now you got this situation.
So if you here's my question. So a woman is on a date with you, right? And she's a modern woman. She's had her boobs done. You guys are engaging in a little hanky panky, touchy feely. Okay, footsie. And then as you're playing with her breast, you pop one of her breasts. Are you responsible for getting it repaired?
I think I got it. It's a quack heel. I was not really to you soon.
Her doctor didn't break it. You did.
How you gonna break something internal? That was an inside job. What you talking about? You can't break that.
You have to be. Those things are fragile.
Well, you shouldn't be having out if I play with them, man. You're gonna keep them in a lock cage because they break on no matter what. They ain't paying for that.
So that sounds to me like you're trying to avoid paying for it.
I'm not gonna pay for that.
So you guys tell me what you think. You think he should be paying for her boob? He broke it. He popped it.
No.
Okay. So social comparison is when we see another person next to us at the distance from us, and we have really ease of access to people nowadays, and that is my biggest fear as a clinician, as a layperson in society, etc. Privacy has never been so important as it is now. Like, I cannot speak to how many times I have moved things around so that people can't find me. Y'all nosy. Y'all nosy. You're doxing people. You're sending the people to people's places. You're doing too much. The internet is too much. I feel like when we start looking at the lives of other people and then looking them up and then finding ways to break those people down or break ourselves down as a result of those comparisons, we are dooming ourselves because we're constantly looking through a lens that ain't so clear. Like, you realize that people don't really live their lives out on social media, right? No. I don't think people realize that.
Some of them really do, but some of them don't. They're no different. They're no different.
Nobody does. Nobody does. Now, while I will not put false information out there, right? The facade, I also am not going to live my entire life out. Like, I had somebody tell me at one point, they were like, "Ooh, you're as a couple, like you're putting all your happy moments, but so you trying to say y'all got the perfect relationship, y'all don't argue, you don't have this or that." I don't know what kind of humans you guys are. I'm a different kind of human. If I'm arguing, I am not grabbing my phone to record or film or any of that. I'm trying to make my point so I can win the argument. I'm just saying, I'm here for the argument and I'm gonna win. Okay? So you won't see it. hire somebody to follow me around and record if that's what y'all want to see. You're more than welcome. More than welcome. Really, it's a thing. So I think if we're looking at other people, we're looking at what they post on social media, we're looking at them and we're saying this is what our life should look like at this age, right? We're setting ourselves up for failure for a couple of reasons. It's okay to admire where a person has position themselves on a job, or it's okay to even admire an outfit that a person has that you're thinking to yourself like, "Oh, that might look cute on me." It's not okay to look at another person's life from a distance and outside perspective and say to yourself like, "Oh, I should have that because we're the same age." That's illogical. You don't have the same exact opportunities that you've taken advantage of. You don't have the same exact lens on life. You don't have the same exact exposures. None of those things that contribute to, remember I told you you're never independent. You don't have those variables that have contributed to that person developing their life in the way that they've developed their life. So I think that you should be realistic about the realities that you actually have in front of you. Okay. So with that being said, I want to know, what do you think about people comparing themselves with other people or trying to keep up with the Joneses?
Well, that is an ongoing facade that's been around for decades and probably never stop. As they say, fake it till they make it. Some folks with a reputation of really having substance in life, or they have a real game plan. But the game plan to make it look like they have one with really check or battle. So I don't know where that comes from. That's the grandiosity attitude, what you want to call it. But it's not healthy for the long run.
I do think it does lead to some level of grandiosity. And for some people, it leads to a level of helplessness. Like instead of them feeling grand, they feel inferior. So it kind of roots this inferiority complex. And I see that in patients a lot. Hmm.
So a lot of like so losing stuff. Everything I sold it, so you listen, that stuff really got tough on people that you ain't sold nothing. But they gonna say they did something with it in a grand fashion. But actually I seen your truck man come out and get it taken away. But but now so sold it or whatever.
So if they sold it, the tow truck man can't come remove it?
Yes and no. But knowing the situation, they probably ain't sold it because type person they are, they ain't gonna sell nothing. They want to show off and keep it going. They especially have nothing to replace it. They walking now. So what have they done? Clear. Them cars that got taken, man.
Okay, which brings me into this component right here. The American economy kills Americans. Now,
it's discriminatory for every American. It's discriminatory for they don't have no no boundary for your age, nationality, race, or income. Because everything's super inflated, even for the rich.
exactly. There is no middle line.
It has no face. It is the face.
Right. So, one of the things that I was leading to when I talked about having been on Rush's channel the other day, we talked about the importance of the housing market, given a realistic view as to how it is that the cost of living or minimum wage should be increasing over the course of time. The young lady kept going to the fact of, I don't want people making the same amount of me. They're coming to my office, blah, blah, blah. But up until a certain point, right? And it started off fairly low. I think what the minimum wage is, if I can remember the lowest being $2 and
35 cents.
a dollar. Was it a dollar? A dollar? 15 cents.
$1.70.
I can't remember. I want to say 215, 230 were the increases. And from then on, there was like gradual increases pretty much every 2 years at least. And then nothing. 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 No increase to from like Was it
Well, you
1980?
know, it's been the same since 2009. But look how long we've been to make billions of dollars off of that, and they don't in a surplus, and they whatever. And investments are high, but everybody living low. So how you not gonna be able to pull everybody up at least middle wage the way you kind of almost can see it, right?
And I don't think it's like pulling everybody up to minimum wage, but I think it is. So let me pull it up, you guys. So we've got. Yeah, I remember it being. So look, in 38, it was 25 cents. That was the minimum wage. And then in 39, it was 30 cents. It went up 5 cents an hour. Then in 1945, it went up to 40 cents. It went up 10 cents to account for the deficit in the years of no increase. Because this is what I want you guys to track, right? And then in 1950, it went up to 75 cents from 40 cents to account for same level of no increase for the 5 years, right? Then in 56, it goes up to 25 more cents, so to $1. Then in 1961, September 3rd, it's $1.15. And then it goes up in 63 to $1.25. And then it goes up to from the $1.25 mark to $1.40 in 1967. There was no increase in 64 and 65, right? Then 1967 goes up to $1.40, 68 goes up to $1.60. See, here's the thing, right? 1969, 70, and 71. You see how they started going a little bit longer with no increase and try to see what people were going to push back on? Nothing. But the problem is the housing market didn't inflate during those years either. It remained the same. Groceries, produce remained the same. Those costs didn't rise. So you
a group of people always creating whole utilities, commodity things, whatever, because it's synchronized chaos. There's no mathematical way to govern this thing to have a balanced budget. Period. It's not designed for that. So you talking about $34 trillion in debt, which we owe, but we get all houses taken in this stuff for a few $1,000s.
And that's what I'm getting to, right? People say that the cost of a house doesn't have any bearing on the wages that are paid to people. It does. It really does, because it tells people that, okay, a livable wage. And by the way, minimum wage is not meant for children. They had a sub minimum wage that was introduced, I want to say in the 70s. What was the 70s or the 80s for teenagers? Yeah. For teenagers that were in high school, that were working. Yeah. So with a work permit. And that continued fairly into the 90s. And I want to say the 2000s too. Yeah. But so that's the money that a child is supposed to be making. Teenagers. Now, it's supposed to be fair housing or fair wages for housing to be able to contribute to the housing, right, of a person. You can't have the housing market inflate by 400, 500, 600% in 2 years in some places. Right. And there is no increase that has happened since 2009. And even when the increase happened in 2009, the last increase before that was in like major increase anyway, was 97. Then in 2008, it went up to $6.55 before 2009 going to $7.25. So what I'm saying is we have too much of a lapse since the last time we revisit. This is 2024, people. Ciao. Make it. All I'm saying is make it make sense.
No, the math makes sense. That's how it's all record. You can't put it on. You can't do the math. It ain't right.
I feel like we woke up and we were all living in 1991 Hawaii, wishing that we had just came back from 1991 America. but we still in the same place, and it don't make sense. Yeah, it's the percentage of inflation. So when you're inflating prices and the cost of goods and things like that,
That's
so
why we never had another Great Depression, because they won't let it happen naturally. It could have been happening. They avoid it.
I think this is the Great Depression.
They won't name it that because they won't let it. They won't do all now. They will not do the bank runs and all them failures. They will not let that happen.
Yes, I feel like these bailouts are to prevent that from happening, to having to be on record while we have an inadequate.
Where that money come from? A bigger deficit. So it really, if you could do that, why not just wipe all this shit clean and start over again? Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? You can do all that. You know, that just tie knot, and something gonna come back loose anyway. You just fix everything at one time and they have a clean slate. They don't want to do that. That's too much like right.
But I think that that's what's leading to people being so depressed. There was a video that I saw on social media. It's floating around. I think it's TikTok, you guys. And it's of this young lady who is, I want to say in her 20s, late 20s, early 30s, if I'm not mistaken. And she says that she bought a house because she thought that would be an ideal out for her. She's a single mother, and her income is that of what traditional two-parent households have. And she wanted to provide stability for her kids, but now she's so depressed because her house note is going up based on, because she's in escrow and her insurance amount is higher. So I want to explain something, right? I get how some people think that they have to keep their insurance escrowed. You don't. You don't. If you do not want your homeowner's insurance to be escrowed or put inside of your escrow, you are more than welcome to go and vet your own insurance and pay it on your own. You don't, yeah, you don't have to have it in your mortgage. But for whatever reason, yeah, some people do not know that though. And she's sitting there, she is literally depressed. She's like, oh, well, I got a letter and they're going up by $200. And, you know, that's at a time, every couple of years on her house note. They don't have to go up $200 at a time on your house note if you're paying your private insurance and you're doing your insurance vetting on your own. But your property taxes even can be paid out by yourself. You don't have to put it in escrow. Exactly. But I don't think that young people are reading thoroughly their mortgage notices. And I think that that mindset that, okay, well, it's escrow, this is how it has to be, this is what I got to pay. Yes, it's ballooning. When she started talking about how much her mortgage was, that's when it was red flags for me. She started off with $2,000. And here's the thing. Just because you can qualify financially because of your positioning at your current occupation, or even if you're a career person, right, that's going to be a steady income. Just because you can qualify for for this much house does not mean that that's how much house you should go get. Yeah. I think nobody set these people down and had the conversation. In my opinion, I think people need to sit these young people down and have the conversation and explain finance stability, social comparison, how it impacts a person's pocket, what potentials, you know, that there are for impacting your pockets, and how it is you can have a more stable outlook on how you formulate your life. One of the things that I discussed on my Facebook page, I think it was a couple of days ago, is this person was saying everybody's going to become renters, right? And I'm like, okay, yeah. What if? Who would own the houses? Like, let's have this conversation, because someone still has to own the house, and to become a renter doesn't. You're still not you're not winning. You know, how is that winning? You own nothing. You can't modify anything. You can't do anything to them people property without going through them, and they got to go through somebody else. And it's too, you understand? Yeah, it's too restrictive. It's never really yours. You are officially at that point just a borrower. You're borrowing time in the space until somebody else sees it inconvenient for you to stay in that space. And here's the thing, when you rent, I got news for you. You're going to be paying that person's mortgage times too. So yes, there's the mindset of if I'm renting, I'm winning, but you're not. You can create your mindset around saving and paying your mortgage by buying the house that you need versus the house that somebody else qualified you for and sold to you. Like there has to be, if y'all want to be independent in anything, be independent in your mindset. Just because I qualify for $1 million house doesn't mean I'm going to buy $1 million house and have $1 million house note. Right. So it's not about what you can afford because somebody has looked at how much money you've bought in the last couple of years. It doesn't matter if you can afford it. Just because you can afford it doesn't mean you should get it. What do you need? Ask yourself, what do I need? If you're a single person living by yourself, then why do you need 7 bedrooms, 8 bedrooms? For what? Why do you need that? If you're planning to have a growing family, right? Why do you need to have all this extra space that won't be accounted for until your careers are jumped off in another 10 years? It's the mindsets that need to be shifted for me. Look at what you need before you go looking for houses. It's okay to look at house and house hop. You know, it's okay to look at house here, house number 1, house there, house number 2. It's okay to look at them, but it's not okay for you to invest in something. An investment is something that is long term. It's something that's going to impact you long term. It's something that's going to need your finances long term. That's what it's going to need something from you long term. That's what buying is. It's just called being responsible. And it's at the mature phase of adulting. You shouldn't be doing it at the immature phase of adulting. Exactly. Exactly. So that's that piece, you guys, okay? The American economy is killing us because we refuse to hold American government accountable for increasing the wages that are paid on these subpar jobs. And we want to say it's because, oh, well, that person didn't go to school and accumulate this debt. They shouldn't have to go to school and accumulate debt to work at this place and earn a livable wage. Right.
How you gonna come out under that? You be 50 before you start your life.
Right.
So how you do that?
Any kind of life.
Exactly.
They're not taught to save. They're not taught to invest. They're not taught to do any of that stuff.
They think the investment is the educational process worth some money though.
And I think that young people have got to learn how to listen to older people, because whether or not the older people are living the life that you want to live or you see yourself and you're a person living at that point in your life or not, they found a way to make it and to survive and to thrive through a couple of depressions, a couple of dips.
You can't maximize everything because it's there.
Right.
You potentially burn out or no nest egg and then it fall back on.
Exactly. And you can't build a healthy credit profile. Exactly. So you got to do some things that are protective, right? You got to do some things because you're trying to position yourself to be able to be prepared for the next step. And some things you got to kind of wait until they unfold and just kind of go along with it as you figure it out. But I think that parents have to get into the mindset of conditioning their children to be prepared for the type of lifestyle that they're going to walk into as adults before they become adults. And that means that we have to reinvent what it looks like to condition morality and spirituality into our children. Doesn't mean that you have to push them one way or the other when it comes to religion. I don't know what you guys are doing out there. It's not my business. But it is, however, my business to make sure that the other people who are in this world with me, navigating life in some kind of way, connected, either directly or indirectly to me, I'm hoping that they're stable enough to be a non hindrance to the life that I want to live. So let's look at the next topic. Next talking point: social science perspective. Theory of crime linked to mental instability due to what, in your opinion?
What did I say that again?
Crime,
Mm-hmm.
right? The uptick in crime, is it linked to mental instability?
Uh, yes and no.
Okay.
It's linked to greed, reputation, no motivation, crime opportunity, and things of that nature, and addiction. All those things contribute to that. It don't have nothing really to do with your upbringing. But people do that stuff and they get grown up and they never get themselves into, so but they grow up doing that. They got professional at it,
Hmm.
so that's it. That's how that goes, that thing with them. They grew up from that 12. They think I caught me. Look at the boy trying to run away, 11 years old.
10.
Yeah, so how you gonna tell me to check up grandma and give me money?
He
How you
did
gonna do
that.
that? I can't even have a play on a place like every day. I can't do that, you period. So, huh?
Because you don't know the person that you're robbing. And you don't know the level of
That's
restraint that
being
that
abused
person
off somebody
is or
my
isn't
mom.
going to exercise.
I'm like, you might only buy them, right?
But that's conditioning of morality as well, though. I think that that's very important. That's an important thing to consider.
We lost that fight. They took out of school and our morality out of the homes, and we just lost our way with structures and generational things that matter. Well, you got to where you at. What was that? That road just not that one of. Like, it just died out. There's no not the black history. There's no black bond that means something to somebody besides a dollar or something to eat or what you're gonna do for me. It's always something attached to it. Or there's no real gratitude, no real gratefulness, no real yearning to learn or want to be somebody because you are somebody. It's always got to be lazy, trifling, or things like that. We got to be paid off to do something. You don't want to do nothing for just be genuine with it.
I do think that we do have to be incentivized in order to do
But
what is
just to be,
considered to be
what's my
socially
motivation?
acceptable.
What's my motivation type thing?
Yeah. What is in it for me?
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of
What's
people
the
are
right
asking.
thing? Your motivation.
But I do think that a lot of the crime is linked to mental instability. But I think that the mental instability.
You on probation and you can't get a job. That leads to mental instability.
Right. Because it makes you depressed.
It creates that thing for 10 years.
Yeah. It makes you depressed. It makes you feel helpless. It makes you hopeless. It makes you feel like you're going to end up back in the correctional facilities.
Question what you're doing. I'm trying to do the right thing, but I'm getting all these doors shut back in my face. So how am I supposed to survive?
Well, the answer is simple. You have to first account for what you did that landed you in the spot in the first place.
But once that died down,
it doesn't.
It still stayed there.
But it doesn't die down. That's what I'm saying. The missing component is accountability. If I am a convicted felon, if I've done something that landed me in a federal facility for whatever reason, I have to account for what landed me there, for one.
Even after that, your background still going to be 10 years running forward, not backward. You pull it up, well.
Yeah, it's going to be there. But
background check gonna say,
it isn't. But it isn't. That's what I'm telling you. So your background check is only impactful when you lie on the application and say that you didn't have the background. So if I say that I didn't have a background, right? If I say that I have never been arrested for a felony, if I've never been convicted for a felony, if that's what I'm telling you as an employer, and then you have to go back and do a background check, and then you discover that I have been arrested for a felony conviction, it's been a violent felony conviction, it's going to make you not trust me, because essentially you cannot trust me. So
Yeah, I see both
yes,
sides of the equation. People have said they have been arrested and applied for the job truthfully. And
yeah, but
still,
that's the point. So not only just say that you've been arrested, but let's have a conversation about what it is that I've done to rehabilitate myself while I was in a federal
they took
correctional
the nature of the
facility.
crime what they served time for.
Mm-mm.
They still came back and
So no, not indicate the nature of the crime. Let's talk about how I've rehabilitated myself while in a federal correctional institution.
they don't get that person.
You can.
They don't.
But that's the point about accountability. I think that you have to account for the mistakes that have landed you in the spaces that you can find yourself.
You won't get that from your prescribed psychotherapist or somebody in your business.
You don't have to get that though. You don't have to. You
You're
can.
not gonna get that in the normal world, normal setting.
But as a person, right? If I know that I'm running into a brick wall every time I try to further myself, what I like to tell people, especially in therapy, is that the healing comes from first allowing yourself to reveal the things that make you uncomfortable. Okay? Healing does not come by way of somebody else forcing an idea or a construct on you. It's you looking at what you've done, how you've contributed to your life or your lack of your life's um progression, right? And finding out what is it that you want to do next? How are you going to get there? What are some of the things that you've identified as roadblocks to your success? How are you going to navigate those roadblocks? So it's okay to have the conversation and talk about where you've been, how it is that your life has been impacted by being caught, then reprimanded, then rehabilitated. Right. And now let's talk about how we move forward because we all have a past. That's the reality.
Yeah.
Just because I have a past, it should not block me being right. If I'm ready to truly progress and move forward and build something stable, I should never have to be in the place where I feel so helpless and hopeless because of the responses of people that I'm getting due to my lack of disclosure. You understand? So I think the social science perspective is I feel that the crime rate has increased tremendously, but I do feel that when we don't report crimes, the statistics that are reported also are inaccurate.
I think social media is one of the main culprits
Of so many crimes.
Yeah, because
I agree.
Look how our insurance messed up over something like that.
Whew. Yes.
It affected us
tremendously.
To this day.
Yes.
So everybody
yes.
Know. So, how
how you teach a person you of all the things that you guys can get. Let me go back on camera. Of all the things that you guys could have trained a person to do on the YouTube University streets, y'all trained them to break into cars
and steal them, and then I'm gonna pay you for my cash after you for every time you do it. Told that woman call 5 times. What you doing?
Why? Just
Hmm.
I think there is definitely connectivity here. I think that the increase in crimes, like people breaking in, people stealing cars, people breaking into people's houses, armed robbery, blah, blah, blah. I think that's due to people being so mentally unstable because we now live in a society that refuses to acknowledge and needs to increase the minimum wage, but also needs to increase the wage index for earners because we have increased and inflated the cost of food, the cost of gas, the cost of life, the cost of living, housing, everything so much to where it's unrealistic. And it's almost as unrealistic as I feel like some of these modern day women and men dating are in their mindsets. So that's my opinion. Feel free to share yours. I look forward to hearing what you guys feel is responsible for, leading us into a place where we're so insecure as a society. So our final topic for discussion is that there is somebody for everybody. I want to know how you feel about this. There have been several people who have argued the fact that there is not somebody for everybody. That's a lie. We've been told, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that it's a lie. I feel that even if we do not subscribe to Christianity, every single doctrine of religion that has ever been created mentions God, our creator, Allah, our creator, whomever, your Buddha, whatever. It mentions that you're created with the intention on expanding life force and us as humanity going forth, being fruitful, multiplying what it is that is given to us in an abundance of blessings. So I think that there is definitely somebody for everybody. Whether or not you are delusional or living in a fantasy world as to what that looks like or what you qualify for as a person or what qualifies you as a good partner, that's another story. Okay? Because just because our person is out there doesn't mean that we're ever in a position to receive them.
Yeah.
That's the reality. We may never get them. And then we may be the person sitting on social media saying, oh, somebody lied. It's nobody. It's not somebody for everybody because my auntie Gabby was the perfect person and she was a Christian and she was fine and she died alone. No, God didn't say we were going to have our person forever, for one. Said until death do us part, for two. And that means that we ain't always going to die together, for three. Okay? So I feel like there may be somebody for everybody, but I think that some of us are not really equipped with the tools that it takes for us to be in a place of reception for our person. And some of us are not willing to go and find our somebody. Okay? And some of us are not willing to accept the fact that our somebody might have some other somebodies that are their somebodies too. Some of us don't want to accept that our somebodies might look differently than what we've told ourselves we need to align ourselves with because of the illogical ideas that we've been conditioned to believe. So, in my opinion, I do believe there is definitely a somebody for somebody. I think that everybody has their perfect match of imperfection waiting for them out there somewhere.
I believe that.
But sometimes you don't have the patience to allow the facilitation for space for you to be healthy enough to receive them when they come. Sometimes you're so bitter and so angry because you've been so anxious and trying to create your somebody, right? That you have now changed and shifted your ideation as to how you show up. And now you've modified yourself so much that somebody can't even see you no more. They don't even know you're there somebody because you look so different because you've tried to be what these other somebodies want. And now you're competing with God. I feel like oftentimes we don't know how close we are treading that fine line. You understand? And I like to caution people sometimes, like, sometimes you got to humble yourself, get down on your knees and pray and meditate, receive what it is that the spiritual realm has to share with you. That's regardless of whether you are a religious person or not. But sometimes you got to do that, and sometimes we have to humble ourselves. I feel that there is such an abundance, should I say, of negative social media projection out there that we have disabled ourselves from being able to receive positive content.
We have, what you call it, boundary for the site, we have no boundary for the people.
Right. And these are my thoughts. I feel like we need to do a better job at talking about the importance of finance in relationships, but also the importance of finance in the relationship that we build with ourselves. Poor financial decision making is directly linked to trauma. Because it says that we are moving in a way that we're trying to hide or mask something else. If we know that we have these responsibilities on one end, but we are coming across the resources to take care of them, but we're not. We're choosing not to. We're electing not to. We're not electing to be depressed. We're allowing life to lure us in and take us off our square. We got to sometimes take accountability and put ourselves right back on it, be accountable, and start it up again, because it matters to us. It matters to us to be stable. It matters to us to be congruent. So that concludes my show. I'm so happy to be back having these difficult discussions. Hopefully, I've encouraged you guys to go and have a more expanded discussion about some of the things that we've introduced our ideas around. And I look forward to connecting with you guys next week. Until next week, stay safe out there and continue to put positive energy into the atmosphere around you and to those people that are directly and indirectly connected to you in this life. Please be a positive influence on the people who are silent in your life, silent observers, silent partners, those people that are silent contributors to the dance or the system of you. Seek to keep yourself well and congruent by going out and seeking therapy. If you know somebody who is currently experiencing mental health crisis, psychosis, suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation, or currently experiencing the hearing and manifestation of voices or figures, or a sense that other people don't observe in the same places as them, please do encourage them to pick up the phone and dial the number link below so that they can be connected to a clinician that is on call and ready to facilitate space for their healing and their overall wellness. Until next time, you guys, keep it real. It's been amazing. I'm glad that you guys sat through. And if you made it to the end of this video, put me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to thumbs up the video in general on YouTube, and then share the content if you found it to be helpful. Later days. Bye.